This is the Extensionists, Conversations with Great Thinkers in Agriculture. I'm Toban Dyck.
And I'm Jay Whetter.
Hey, Jay.
Hey, Toban.
How's it going?
Good.
Excited about today's guest?
I am. Like it's a world that I don't know very well, the world of greenhouses, and but I'm really excited to talk to Rupp. Can I tell a little story?
You can, yeah.
So I was on the Manitoba Canola Growers Research Camp tour and was talking to a couple of the researchers, and they're both working on a similar problem, but they work in the same building at the same institution, but they didn't know that they were both working on this problem. And I think that was shocking for me and a little bit frustrating, because I think this happens too much in Canada, where we've got institutions working on similar I work in the world of canola, so I mean, let's just say Blackleg.
Sure.
So maybe that's not anyway, let's just say Blackleg, whatever. So we've got U of M doing Blackleg, U of A doing Blackleg, University of Saskatchewan, Ag Canada, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. Are they working together, or are they in their little silos? And the Canola Council does kind of help, because it does often have like working groups for these big major problems. So there is that happening, but then to see these two who are within one of these realms in the world of canola, not knowing what each is doing within the same building,
institution,
within the same building at the same institution, I feel like that's the proverbial low-hanging fruit. So let's make sure we're checking in with everybody, and first of all, we know everybody who's doing any research in this problem all across the country, and then make sure that they share what they're working on, and then we kind of push toward collaboration, or at least sharing, so that we're not doubling up. And so we're learning from each other. Anyway, that's Rupp is going to define for us in this upcoming conversation, I hope, some of the work he's doing to break down those silos and get those conversations happening within the University of Windsor specifically, but and also within the world of greenhouses, right? He's got two things going on.
I think I think that's a really strong anecdote, because I feel like that happens often. Yeah. Where the left arm doesn't know what the right arm is doing. Yeah. I think that's a worthy, we've heard this from our guests before, in various capacities, or various ways that is a problem. Like that collaboration is so key to all of this, and it's a tricky one, right? Like, who's the onus on, right? If you're a researcher, is the onus on you to make sure that everybody knows what you're doing? Yeah. How does this all work? And I mean, then you have people who are just at capacity. I mean, having to collaborate might just be one more thing that they don't have time for. So how do you create models that facilitate that?
Yeah. Make it easy as possible.
So
it comes down to who is it? Is it the commodity groups? Is it the universities? Is there a network within the universities? Again, it's people. People need to care enough to make this stuff happen.
Or is it? I mean, this is just thinking off the top of my head, but or is it necessary? Like, if you have like funding requirements from,
I see what you're saying.
Is there like you have to canvas, or you have to collaborate?
Yeah.
Right. And this is what that looks like.
Or there's budget set aside in each project for the collaboration.
Yeah. Or does each cluster have its own person who ensures that everybody knows what's going on. They'd be interested to hear. But yeah, anyways, I'm very interested to hear what Rupp has to say about this. Yeah.
Time is running out. If you don't act now, your canola savings for next year will be gone. Save up to $75 per bag on canola with DeKalb Harvest Rewards, but only until October 31st. Visit DeKalbRewards.ca for details.
Hey there, listeners. If you're enjoying the conversations here on The Extensionists, you will probably love to get our newsletter.
Yeah, it's the best way to stay connected with us, with Jay and myself, yours truly. I'm excited about the newsletter, to be honest with you, because I think.
Why are you excited?
Well, so many of our guests have so.
Sorry. Why are you excited about it?
Say that differently, Jay. So many of our guests they say so many things of interest, right? And I feel like the newsletter will be a great way to share that with our listeners.
Like quick take homes?
Yeah.
Summaries?
Yeah, absolutely.
One-liners?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think about each guest, we could probably write a whole bunch of articles from each of our guests, right? So to give our newsletter subscribers like summaries of the key takeaways of these things, plus information on upcoming guests. All the listeners have to do is go to theextensionists.com and follow the prompts to sign up for the newsletter. I think it'll be great.
Welcome to the podcast, Rupp. We've got Rupp Carriveau, who's a professor in the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering at the University of Windsor, and also co-director of AGUWin, Agriculture, and then UWin, University of Windsor. Rupp, you're also heavily involved in greenhouses, which is a big industry down there, which we'll get to eventually. But before we do that, we want to talk about some of the things that kind of make Rupp. Hiking, cars, football, coaching. Toban, what you like that stuff?
The connection to fruit and vegetable growers of Canada. I do like that stuff. I do like cars.
Do you want to talk cars, hiking?
Also pierogies, Mexican food.
Okay, you like all those things.
So far, Rupp and I are kindred spirits. Yeah. So hikes. I guess a question to tie this all. So, do you have a favorite hike or a good hiking story?
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess the first one that comes to mind would be Grandview. I think it's called Grandview Trail in the Grand Canyon. I had done the Bright Angel Trail before in the Grand Canyon, which is a wide one. They bring the donkeys down, and we were going back to do some camping in the Grand Canyon, and the only one that was available was this Grandview Trail. I said, "Oh, it sounds fine." We got the backcountry permit. Anyway, long story short, there was a reason why it was available. It was pretty treacherous, and I have a fear of falling, not so much a fear of heights, but so that put me off hiking for a while. I felt like I was staring down the barrel of a loaded gun for like 4 hours. And I've seen there's people that are far more intrepid that wouldn't be bothered by a trail that's inches wide in spots, but it unnerved me. So I won't do that again. But no, I enjoy things closer to home. I like, the Bruce Trail, the stuff around things like Lion's Head in Ontario, and those places. I mean, Canada's rich with that stuff. Mm-hmm. And frankly, from where I live, it's easier to go into the US to more interesting hiking destinations. It's just shorter for me.
Yeah, for sure. Do you use all trails? Do you have an app or do you have a better app that you use?
No, those are good. Those are good. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, again, it speaks to my age, but we just go by word of mouth, right? But now the resources are wonderful because you can get updates on the condition of the trail and pictures and things, which is really nice.
So just on the hiking thing, and the communications, word of mouth, there's kind of something we could get to later, just on the extension of ideas and how face-to-face or word of mouth is almost more effective often than social. But you said back at the Grandview Trail, which does sound sort of kind of nice and easy, like I'm walking on the Grandview Trail, but if I trip, I'm tumbling a mile down into the bottom of the Grand Canyon. So you said you're looking down the barrel of a loaded gun. Is that just because one false move and you're tumbling for thousands of feet?
That's how I felt. The upside was when I emerged, the appreciation for life is through the roof.
That risk reward thing, right?
It's really something. Like, I think back to that, and it was remarkable. I'm not sure I'm willing to do it again, but it's quite the natural high. Right?
So, I feel like I'm going to Google this trail after this interview and see. That's awesome. So are you an you're a fan of cars. What if you have a car that you own? I'd love to hear about it. But are you a fan of F1? Is that a
Well, I would say I was until I saw that movie.
Like the Brad Pitt movie.
That was that was a bit of a letdown for me. It apparently it had some good reviews. It wasn't good for me, but no, I like motorsports in general. There's too much of it to follow. Like, I try to keep up a little bit with F1. It's easy because it's relatively small. But I mean, like, we took my daughters to the NASCAR Hall of Fame in Charlotte. Ooh. And that was right around the time that the Cars movies were big, and Lightning McQueen was there. So all that stuff is really exciting to me, and just being around cars I really enjoy. And I like driving. I like driving cars, and I have a couple cars that I have stolen for sticker price or less, that I've worked hard, and I guess I'll be selling those if I want to retire, because I don't have any retirement savings now. So I mean, I'm a terrible financial manager. Don't tell that to the people that I do financial management for, but for myself, not so good. Not so good.
Oh, I love it.
You can manage other people's money. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, I wouldn't do that to them.
No. Oh, of course not.
No.
Okay, and then I just want to touch on the football thing, because that's kind of interesting to me. So you said you've got 2 daughters and you're coaching them football?
Yeah. So, and again,
flag football.
Coaching's a stretch. Like, I would say, so my dad was a football coach, and I played for him, and I played after that too. So I really like football, and I like watching it. And I just wanted more ways to sort of, I guess, have shared experiences with my kids, which is not unusual for folks.
Yeah.
So, being a fair size of the time portfolio, I thought I'd better get them integrated, and they seem willing, because I think they really enjoy the pageantry of, particularly, and I hate to say it, but particularly the American football, just because it's a little bit more accessible media wise. Again, given my geographic position here, and I have half of my family is American. So
okay. But so you must have been to the big house at Michigan then, have you, for a game?
Do you know what's funny? I haven't.
What?
I haven't.
Oh, really?
No. It's odd. My dedication's largely been to Canadian university football or American professional football. So many times to the then at the time it was the Pontiac Silverdome, now Ford Field. I've been a number of times to Cleveland Stadium to see the Browns. I've been to see the Colts, but I'm a lifelong Chargers fan. So, Lions being number 2 because of proximity. So I do a little camp. I do a little football camp at the university for my daughters and girls their age, because they're just, I can coerce their friends. It's like, it's awkward for them if they don't come to the camp, because they're going to see me when they come over to, whatever.
What are they going to say? Right.
Yeah. It's just like, where were you?
I love it.
My daughters have the, the app that shows where everybody's at. It's like, hey, but it looks like you were at the mall to me. You said you were out of town.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, and I have leverage on my kids, so they will do what I ask them to do. So
that's great. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's so good. So when we talk about these personal things and all that stuff, so you are an engineer, and I'm always curious about how does your professional life intersect with your passions at all? Do you apply kind of an engineering lens to how you you take in motorsports or football or hiking?
Well, I guess I think so. I do think so, but I mean, I think in the same way that most people just are curious, right? I don't, I'm around like real engineers often, and that's not really who I am. Like, I pass the tests and those things, but I mean, like, I'm always I have to look at things very, very simply to understand them all the time. I'm always slow. I'm the last one to understand something. So but my curiosity runs high all the time. So I always have questions, a lot of questions. So yeah, that stuff. Again, things that move or grow really, really fascinate me.
That modesty, obviously curiosity is important if you're a communicator and you're trying to develop or push something forward. But I think it's always being, and I know you're joking, but being the slowest person in the room means you're asking the questions that are really often going to get to the root of an issue. And where other people...
And you're often asking questions that other people probably have too, but they're too scared to ask.
Yeah, so you come across as being the dummy who has to ask this question. This I'm speaking about myself now.
Yeah.
Where to your point, Toban, everyone is often thinking it, but you're okay asking it on everyone else's behalf. And then there's group learning that you've helped facilitate, which I think is really important. And so I don't know. Can we transition into some of these agencies that you're working on? Because
you can do whatever you want, Jay.
Well, I do want to talk about the Greenhouse Research Network and AGUWin. Which one would you like to lead off with? And I just want to know what they are and what the goals are and how you are involved.
Yeah, of course. Maybe we'll start with AGUWin because I guess it's institutionally closest to me. So I have been working in the greenhouse space here in a research capacity for probably 15 years, I think. Specifically with, I had a really nice grower, Chris Del Greco at Under Sun Acres. He kind of he gave me a shot. Which was really nice, and so he and I still work with Chris extensively. He's a very progressive grower, and I learn from him. I just can't keep up with him. And frankly, it stresses me out. And that archetype is pretty common in the greenhouse space. Like it's a very stressful segment to work in because it's just all about action, and the stakes are so high. But I was attracted. I as a kid, I actually built little tiny greenhouses because I was really good at making things that were simple geometries. Again, like the slowest kid, bang, bang, bang. But my dad was really into gardening. So I wanted to do little things like put little thermostats on things and stuff. So I liked it. So I really wanted to be involved with greenhouses. And so this was my chance. And so Chris gave me that chance. And then I kept coming back to the university saying, oh, there's so much opportunity out there. Like, holy smokes, the technologies, and there's all these things, and everybody thinks they're optimized, but I guess mathematically speaking, I know you can have a Pareto front that covers several different optimization points, but not everybody's doing everything right? So anyway, I would bring this back to the university, and finally, we kind of got a critical mass of other people who had like interests, and the university started really putting energy out there and finding their own leads, and this really came to a critical mass, I would say, about 3 years ago, and credit to our sort of innovation connector director, Tom Schneckenberger. He's kind of rounded up the group. We've got about 35 profs that do things that have ag in the portfolio, And in fact, maybe it's close to 40 now. And this is across law, business, science, engineering, social science, the labor side, everything. And so it's kind of a neat. And so it's AGUWin right now is what I would call a research center that is aspiring to become an institute. At the university, there's certain hurdles that are required. You must clear to make institute status. And so you need a business model, you need some history. We're working on that right now. So I'm really excited about it because there's certain things I would say Canada's blessed to have a fantastic educational landscape. I tell people, particularly our students, that, oh my goodness, are you lucky to be at a Canadian university, because they perform at such a high level on average. They really, really do. But each one has its own specialties, right? And a lot of those specialties are still really spatially connected. So, for instance, Toronto Metropolitan University, it's going to be hard to beat them on really urban issues. They are where they are. You're not going to take mining away from Laurentian University. You're not going to take oceanography away from Memorial, right? And the greenhouses have been in our backyard for years. So it was time that we stepped up. And so that's kind of, this is something that on my mind is long overdue, and it's finally coming around, and the growers are aware of us, and the ag sort of, advocacy groups are aware of us, and we're getting things together.
Rupp, there's a few things that I want to go back to, because from a communications and just an interest in the story angles, I want to dig into three things. The farmer, I think you said Christoph Echo, Tom Snucker Berger. Bergen. Yeah. And then the greenhouse being stressful and the high stakes. The three of these things will be very interesting, I think, if we can dig into them.
Yeah, of course.
So this farmer, Christoph Echo, why was this person so pivotal for you and inspired you to go forward with this AGUWin? It almost sounds like this farmer was the instigator in what has become sounds like a very useful and interesting almost institute. Why was that so important?
Sure. So let me get his name right. So Chris Del Greco, and
Del Greco.
Chris Del Greco, yeah. And selfishly speaking, I would like to say that is the narrative. Because he was the first one. And what inspired me was that Chris he worked himself up. They had farming in their family, but he'd actually come from automotive. He'd done some farming, but he came up as an engineer, and he was working in automotive
at the Chrysler plant in
Windsor? I think he worked at a tier 1 supplier in a nearby town.
Yeah.
And he I think he was basically, amassing revenue to help his bid to take over a greenhouse that was winding down. And so he went into this older operation and changed everything about how it worked. And all I know is he would say, this is what we're going to do. And the next week I was out there, it was done. And that started to make me really uncomfortable, because I'm like, I hope he doesn't expect that kind of efficacy from me. Like, that's
right. That's the bar so high.
Yeah. So that's a challenge, because, farmers, we know, don't have time to mess around. And greenhouse, I feel like it's accelerated on top of regular farming anyhow, because the environment is so prescriptive. It's, and you'd think, oh, it's so controlled. So, these guys should be able to sit back with their automated agents taking care of everything. But, again, I reiterate the production business that they've put themselves in. They're not growers, they're producers. It requires, a flawless execution, near flawless execution. And if you have pest management problem year one, or like in 1 year, and then the next year you run into some maybe some kind of labor issue or something, you're done. You're done. There's no more. And
the business is done.
Yeah.
Well, because it's just no room for that kind of major error. And why is that? Because he said that stressful and the stakes are high, which is one of the things I did want to talk about. I think, I don't know what is it $2 million an acre? But it's got to be more than that now. So the cost of setting it up is incredible. And
yeah, for sure.
So why is, like, I guess, can we learn something from the greenhouse sector and pass it along to the open fields? Whereas that sense of urgency maybe isn't in all sectors of agriculture. Is there a learning from that?
I've struggled with this because the open field ag space is one that I've only recently stumbled into with a newer project that we have. Looking at hydrogen and carbon in open field ag, and so it's new to me. So I'm just learning about it. But I was warned by others that said, "Look at greenhouse, open field, quite different," and don't be careful in thinking that they're analogous in terms of I got spoiled by things like the data availability in the greenhouse. Right? It's like, okay, you want to know what the CO2 concentration was over there, 60 days ago? We have it, sure, this kind of thing, right? And I'll ask field farmer, can you tell me what your fuel consumption is or what the fuel efficiency is of your harvester? And they'll be like, when I'm driving it, when I'm harvesting, when I'm, and
yeah.
So it's just very different, and they're collecting data too. It's just, again, I don't know their systems as well, but the lessons you're talking about, I don't know, and honestly, and because 15 years is a blink of an eye, and again, I mentioned being a slow learner, so maybe at year 40, I'll have a little bit more confidence in expressing some of these opinions, but I feel like field farming is undergoing a rapid transition into a disappearance of the small farm and starting to alarm me. And again, maybe that's just anecdotal, or maybe the evidence I have is particularly constrained. But I in general, I feel like farming is getting increasingly commercial and getting away from the farmers and more into, and that's a whole other subject, and maybe we don't want to go down that road, but I just that part is interesting to me, and I know I didn't really answer your question, and because I don't think I have the answer. Greenhouse to field.
I think that's fair. I mean, I think the risk margin in open field farming, which is a term I've never really heard before, but I am an open field farmer in southern Manitoba. I would say the risk margin is quite low, and similarly, like if you have a bad year or whatever, it can ruin you. It can end your business. I can't, if my dad was in the room with us, he might be able to offer some perspective on what it was like for him. I'm sure he would say, I'm sure he'd actually say the same thing, and he might even have evidence of some of his neighbors having to quit farming because of a bad year, or is it a price? Is an economic thing, is a pricing thing? But I would say you're right, though, in a general sense, that there are fewer and fewer smaller farms, and the risk tolerance is low. Yeah.
Before we leave Chris Del Greco, I want to make sure that I've captured the significance of him inspiring you, and in turn inspiring AGUWin. Because what I'm trying to get to is just a because you talked about leadership.
Yep.
Recognizing how important individuals with a vision, or a person like you, recognizing that vision and leveraging it. So there's a lesson here that I just want to make sure we capture.
Yeah, I guess I probably, to piggyback off that, probably hoping to inspire someone who's listening to this and who has an idea to see it through, to take it to that next level because of Chris's model.
Chris's vision, but also your. I mean, both of you were working in tandem because you recognized this is something significant and took it to the university and said, we need to do something with this. So can you just walk us through what another institution might learn from that?
I think you have to recognize the people, like you pointed out, with vision, not just vision, but drive. Oh my God, relentless drive. Like, again, like I said, I tell Chris all the time when I see him that he frightens me because I don't want to let him down also, because he's really been, so he's got vision, he's got drive, but he also has humility, and he believes that we have something to offer. So he's worked with us on a number of our, I consider our banner sort of research projects that, involve the province of Ontario, energy stakeholders, investigating things like how would hydrogen be useful in a greenhouse ag space. He is a leader in sort of what I consider farming an energy business. I have to, because people are like, see, you do ag and you do energy. Like, how do you reconcile that? I'm like, it's all energy. Food is energy for people, right? So it's all energy. And so Chris has two streams. He's got peppers and he's got electrons, and he potentially could have clean molecules as well. And so, I've tried to, look at that as one cohesive vision that farmers really, in a way, run, in my mind, sort of energy refineries that and Chris sort of had the vision to know that to be independent and resilient, he needed his own energy supply. So he has cogeneration engines that are beyond what he needs. And he also sells energy to the grid as a result. So he has a couple different revenue streams. This was very interesting to me. So we did this big project together on hydrogen I talked about. After that, he hired my graduate student to be his sort of innovation operations manager. He likes this because he doesn't have to take time to talk to me. He's like, I got your own guy here. You talk to him. He'll give me the Coles notes, and we keep going. So it's really based on this relationship. But you need that. You need someone who moves, who has vision, but moves, has drive, but also humility and the appreciation that maybe there may be some other good places to get ideas. Chris is all about that. He's interested in making the best for his business. And so you need to find those people as a university, and you need to cater to them. That's really important.
Yeah. Got to find them and cater to them. Okay. I want to get to that. But you said he has three streams: peppers, electrons, and clean molecules. Yeah. What the heck?
You lost me after peppers, but yeah.
Can you just define what you mean?
Yep. So to heat the greenhouse, right, he needs, in this case, the fuel of the day is natural gas. And so he has natural gas that comes in, and he's got boilers, and they're there for heat. But he also has cogeneration engines. So basically a jet engine that runs on natural gas. And so he's got 4 of these, and they generate heat. They also generate electricity. So, if he were to add lights to his operation, he has all the electricity he needs. But he also has heat. So he's got heat from the boilers. He's got heat from these cogenerators. And because he has more than he needs, he has a contract that with the province to put that power on the transmission lines for Ontario. So that's another source of revenue for him that is weakly coupled.
So the electrons of the electricity.
Yep, the electrons of the electricity.
Wow, that's very interesting.
And what are the clean molecules? Is that the hydrogen?
The clean molecules would be hydrogen in a scenario where he puts in an electrolyzer, which is what we were doing, largely doing a feasibility study for. So that hasn't happened. But it's, again, Chris is asking about all kinds of things. He's asking about small modular nuclear reactors. He's asking about all kinds of things.
So what does he get out of this? Like, what does AGU? And you said it's you don't want to let him down, and maybe that's where you and the 35 to 40 researchers at AGUWin working as a unit, which I think is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. If not working as a unit, at least talking about what they're working on. So what do you give back to a driven farmer like Chris?
I would say availability, accessibility, availability. So I'll give you an example. Again, he was looking at some automation things that he wants to implement. So he's got automation already, but he has some other things he wants to work on. And that's something I did in a former life. It's not my current occupation, but we have a fantastic robotics person in AGUWin, this guy, Dr. Shapoor. And I brought him out there. And he's like, yeah, I know these robots really well, and we can do something.
So wait a second. So the university, AGUWin, is in service to farmers.
Yes.
Was that?
Wait.
Go ahead.
That sounds inspirational and sadly unique. I'm just going to leave that out there. Toban.
Yeah, for sure. This is for sure. I agree with Jay. What was Chris's ask? Like what did he ask for?
So he brought me in and he said, "Look, these are all the things I'm working on. I know they may not all be yours, but I need you to know all the things I'm doing." And believe me, I've only covered like a quarter of the things he's got cooking.
Right.
Okay. But so he shows, and so, a number of them I could handle, or like our group can handle. But again, I saw the robotics piece and I'm like, I don't keep up with that these days. I mean, I'm an enthusiast, but not an expert. And so I went back with the pieces that I couldn't handle to my AGUWin team and said, look, we've got, and I cautioned him, like, we can't mess this up. Okay. It's this guy's the guy. Right. So, they went out right away. Shapoor went out to visit my student who's working out there and got all the stuff, and they developed a proposal and they're reviewing it right now. So, academics have, in some places and some cases, earned a reputation for what I think is really a smash and grab collaboration style. I never acted this way because I guess I just always wanted to help make the people happy, make the relationship better. To me, relationships are way bigger than projects, right? Because you have to live with yourself, right? So, but I know that there have been many cases, farmers in particular, academics will go out and be like, "Oh, I understand you have this issue with your water or your pest management or fuel efficiency. Give us all your data, and we'll work on something for you." Farmer stops what they're doing. They curate the data, that they provide the data. The academics go away. They work out a nice little project. They meet all the milestones of the funder that they had, and the farmer never hears from them again. So when a new academic comes calling, they're like, yeah, we've been there, done that. I don't think we're doing that again.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting that Chris's ask was more so just him sharing, not more so, or and not meant to belittle it in any way, but sharing with you what he all does and the complexities of of his operation. But I know you're not going to say this about yourself, but what I see is you put the scaffolding you put the framework together for how, given what you know of Chris, how the university can best service him and can best kind of be its best self from that information. I think that's applaudable. I just going to leave that out
I
there.
agree.
Yeah,
I think you're understating your role here.
Yeah,
there's farmers all across Canada. There's universities doing agriculture research all across Canada. Not every institution has that pivotal middle person like you. Mm-hmm. So tell us if you weren't there. My sense is this wouldn't exist. So be immodest and tell us about your role.
Okay, this is really kind of you folks to say it that way, but if I'm intentionally being immodest, I would just say that it has always been my interest to make good friends in these industrial collaborations. And that is not a typical archetype, I don't think. And I don't mean that we're going out for drinks and things like that. I mean that in the professional sphere, we are friends to each other, and we have a relationship, and it, I had a colleague, I never let him forget it, in wind energy, who was really giving it to me one time in a meeting in front of other industrial collaborators. And I said, why? After the meeting, he's like, hey, don't be bummed, man. It's just business. And I'm like, it's not just business. He said, nothing personal. I'm like, it's always personal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's always personal. Like to think that I wasn't doing a good job, or that you thought I wasn't doing my best, that's upsetting to me. Like I get verklempt just thinking about it now. Like I don't want to do that to people. And so I feel like maybe some of these farmers recognize that my sincere interest in trying to help them. My skill set is limited, but we have some real crackers, who can do great things back at the school. I can bring them out there. Right.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah, really. I mean, I think it's interesting because part of the role, it ties into the research network as well, and your kind of passion for breaking down silos. I think it's a really interesting model to have a whole bunch of people in a university who are working. I mean, that you could scale that model however big you wanted to. I think in Canada we should be better at communicating with each other. Everyone who's working in, let's say, ag, like as we're talking about today, that model would be amazing. In government, that would be amazing. So it's really interesting to see this in action, and from what I can gather, be successful. Maybe talk a little bit about that, like, and that kind of the silo piece.
Yeah, happy to do that. Thanks for the lead in on that. I saw this as I got more and more sort of connected to, we're blessed here. Ag Canada has a Harrow Research Station, which is close to our university, and they have a greenhouse campus, and there's some just complete rocket scientists out there. In fact, they're beyond rocket scientists. Dr. Shuming Howe, and they have an engineer, Quaid Digweed. These folks they're just remarkable. And, we hadn't really, they were doing their thing, we were doing our thing, and so I got connected to them, and I thought, oh my goodness. And then I found out about Vineland Research and Innovation Center in Ontario, and then I found about folks at Lethbridge, Alberta, working on things, and another guy at Dalhousie, but nobody really knew each other. And I thought, oh man, if we could connect all these resources, and Guelph and everything else, I just thought we might really have something here. So, I proposed this greenhouse research, education, and training institute, and so I pitched it for funding, and the funding agency said, it was Fruit and Vegetable Growers Canada, said, oh, this is good, this resonates with some of our aspirations. And so they sort of took it out of the traditional funding stream, and we've been working for the last couple of years to try to, we've streamlined it. We've called it the Canadian Greenhouse Excellence Network now. But the idea is that there are universities, there are farmers, there are national labs, there are vendors, all of these people wielding this wisdom that is not being coordinated and amplified the way it could. And so our proposal is that we may be able to create a network where you create a portal or a gateway that would allow you to do three really neat basic things. One, project builder. I want to put LED lights for my peppers. Where do I start? Who should I see? Mm-hmm. Right? So it goes in, tells you who the experts are in that space. How will I fund it? Right? So you ask about that. All the current funding is revealed. And again, could AI do this? Maybe, but the type of information you're talking about, a lot of it is private. So this will be a privately informed, in addition to the public information, sort of portal, right? The second piece would be an education sphere where, again, the public, maybe young elementary school students, or sometimes I'm invited to lobby in Ottawa with Fruit and Vegetable Growers Canada. I'll be trying to explain how the carbon dioxide from the natural gas is actually used by the plants on the other side of the jet engine or the boiler. And I think, man, a graphic would really help me right now, something dynamic. So, these education pieces are really important for policymakers and advocates, right? So that's sort of what's the sector about, all the cool things that it can do and that get done. And then the final piece is training, where we would actually have what I call a multi-institutionally integrated certification. So you could, we were approached often at conferences. Well, how do I get into the sector? I'm a science kid. I'm just working in general biology, but I want to know about what's this pest management. I understand there's all kinds of technology in that. Is there any way I can earn a badge or something, or build up my resume? We'll have growers that want to know just more about cybersecurity, and they want some certification for it. So we're thinking maybe Lethbridge is offering something on pests, and Guelph is offering something on cybersecurity. Windsor offers something on robotics. It's kind of an a la carte. You build your own certification again. So that's sort of high level indication of what we'd like to achieve. And again, it would be all the experts across this country that would feed into this to provide that kind of knowledge center.
And when the experts are asked to participate, do you get sort of enthusiastic response, or do you feel like they're kind of in a cage? I don't know whether it's because of their faculty or their particular university, or maybe it's a funding cage where they can't break out of it for some reason, or is it just getting out there and asking them and they realize, yes, I'll be part of that network for sure? What is the response?
Yeah,
it's all to date. It's always been positive. I mean, once people get around, is this going to cost me money or extra time? Like it as long as the opportunity is presented in a way that is attractive, people are generally on board.
And where is this network at right now? Like, has it? Sorry, excuse me if it's
good.
Apologies if it's been said, but is it active? Is it in the process, burgeoning?
So we are trying to get it to its feet. We had some initial funding to help us sort of collect inputs, and we took what we called it the Power Hour. I think that was a Much Music thing we stole.
Yeah.
Just wantonly stole that. We had like an hour of these. I guess they were webinars, but they were like live data collection, Kahoots or whatever, to get stakeholder inputs. So, the government said, oh, you want to develop something for the country, you better talk to the country about that. And so we took about a year to collect about 1,100 sort of different questions and data points to make sure that we were, and so now we're bringing all that forward in applications for federal funding and private funding to sort of bring this together to show the value of what it would be, so that we can launch it.
The Power Hour. So many webinars are just one-way information dumps. Then at the end, maybe there's Q&A if there's time. How is your approach different? Like you're trying to bring in, and you use the word Kahoot, and I'm thinking like this is just like Kahoots as in, getting people together, or is this like a specific tool or an app? I don't.
Yeah, Kahoot's a platform. It's like a quiz show. It's a quiz show. So
okay, good.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, right.
That's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah.
So how do you use? Okay, this is getting right into the tactics of extension and communication. So in this Power Hour, how do you use Kahoot exactly?
So we would say, I'm a greenhouse farmer. I'm most interested in, I'm trying to think of one of the questions. Like it would be like, put the following issues in order of significance for you: energy for my farm, labor for my farm, pest control, and so these things stack. And then what they do, the nice thing is people respond. And I'm sure you guys have seen these. It's like the live polling stuff. It's quite dynamic, right? And you're like, energy's taking a lead, and then at the end, you've got this composite picture for the group that you're dealing with. Some of them we did in person, and some of them we did virtually. And then sometimes it was a hybrid, and it was quite nice because we just kept aggregating that, and then eventually we had one massive aggregate report because we asked the same questions everywhere we went.
So what is the Power? No, I can't remember. Power Hour.
Yep.
What is that event like? Is it a webinar and then some questions, or is it just like an info gathering? So
we called it the CGen Power Hour, and we basically, explained to folks that we're trying to get this national network of excellence going for greenhouses, and we need your input. And, we rarely use the whole hour, but folks would attend because they wanted their inputs heard.
Yeah.
What in your experience, and we're kind of getting close to wrap up time here, what is the most effective kind of way to extend information in your experience?
Well, my favorite is in person, to get together and to have sufficient structure to provoke interest or to provoke investment of attention and of emotion. And then you have to listen. You have to listen. That's the hard part. And is that people get, and I know this because I get excited talking about something. People want to listen for so long, and then they want a chance to speak. So everybody needs a chance to speak, and everybody needs a chance to have the floor if they so want it. And that's really done most effectively in person.
Yeah.
And do you make a point of going around the table and asking people to contribute?
We try to. We do. I mean, not everybody wants to, but I mean, I like that, and I think it's important to have we try to have a social thing after, because that's also invaluable. Now we're outside of the structure, and it's like, I really liked what you said. I just in the room, I wasn't sure who was there. I wasn't sure what, and I understand that completely. And then you get a different story. So
how do you capture that though? Do you write it down afterwards?
I do. Yeah, I'm very careful to write those things down. Yeah, because you guys know those insights. Yeah. Those insights are invaluable, right?
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's a whole technique in journalism, which it's not that it's fair or underhanded, but you put your notebook away and the person you're interviewing assumes that it's all over, and then the real comments come out. So meanwhile, and then as soon as it's over, oh, okay, yeah, that was a good one. So I write it down, and that ends up as the lead for the article. But that's kind of what you're doing with the capturing of ideas, because often it's those once the notebook is closed or the class is over when you get the real insights.
Yeah.
Rupp, I just want to, because I said earlier, and you said leadership and people and being with people. Can you tell me in a minute or so the significance of this fellow Tom? And now I've forgotten.
And he's got a probably German, a Schneckenberger.
Why was he important?
Tom is our industrial innovation lead. His title just recently changed. I think he's like a director of innovation, but he is not a technical person. He understands technical things, and he identifies. He brings industry in, and he brings us out. So he's a connector, and he's very dynamic. Most universities have them. We're really lucky that we have Tom. Tom's unusually good.
Yeah. Well, this has all been really wonderful, Rupp. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thanks so much.
There's a few really juicy extension tactics that you've provided for us, which I'm really excited to tell people about and share. But just the whole experience with what you're doing with AGUWin and the network.
Yeah,
both of those initiatives sound so valuable. And through the podcast, Toban and I look forward to sharing that with other universities, other provinces within Canada. Excellent.
Well, I'm thrilled and flattered for the opportunity to talk about it. Again, it was super flattering just I'm aware of both of your profiles, so to get to have this kind of conversation with you guys was really nice for me, and I think what you're doing is super important. So I want to thank you for the opportunity. I'm thrilled and very grateful.
Well, thanks so much.
Excellent.
This was a pleasure.
And I agree. Just to your point about this isn't business; it's personal. I agree. It's always personal.
Well, and to value relationships. Yeah. Right? I mean, I feel like that's such a strong point too. Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
Anyway, great. Thanks again.
Thanks so much, Rob.
Do you like what you're hearing and want to support the Extensionists? If you are an agriculture company or association looking for a powerful way to get your message in front of Canadian farmers, then partner with us. Our listeners are farmers from coast to coast.
When you advertise with us, your brand isn't just another commercial break. It becomes part of our story. Ads on the Extensionists are personal and trusted. Our listeners value what they hear on the podcast.
Whether you're looking for a 60-second ad somewhere throughout the podcast or even an exclusive episode sponsorship, we have options that will work for you.
So if you're ready to get your message out there and connect with farmers across Canada, let's talk. Visit theextensionists.com for more information.
Mic is in place now. That was fantastic, Toban.
It was great. It was so great.
It's a world that I don't know anything about, greenhouse production. But
you did you referred to open field, and that was I don't think is that I didn't know that actually.
That's the opposite of greenhouse.
Well, sure. I mean, it made sense right away as soon as it was said. I'm like, oh yeah, of course. But then he used it too.
He used the term
because I wonder if he knows it as well in relation to greenhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I mean, I thought way more than Anyway,
what were your take? I feel like there were a lot of takeaways. What was there anything that rose to the top for you?
Yeah, certainly the process through which AGUWin was formed, I think, is very interesting, and you used some good questions too in terms of getting into the details and really wanting to kind of make it a story about a farmer going to university with a problem and a university responding in a very practical and helpful, beneficial way. I thought it was worth spending the time we did on, and I liked that a lot. Yeah.
AGUWin, so 35 to 40 agriculture professors at the University of Windsor, kind of working together to help solve problems in service to the greenhouse industry or growers in general.
That is how I understood it.
Great model.
Yes.
And Rupp being kind of a key to that. Because we've got these researchers, we've got the farmers, but you need that go-between who's really active and passionate and loves to do a good job and doesn't want to disappoint his farmers.
Yeah.
Man, I found that very inspiring.
And obviously, he's a woman who likes somebody who likes hiking and but because it's not irrelevant because it's like you need energy to do stuff like that, right?
Yeah, right.
Because you're beating down doors and you're being repetitive and you're emailing and talking and cornering and like it's not just, hey, you guys want to get together and do this, and everyone's like, yes. It's not like that,
right? And then you organize the meeting, and then you organize the next meeting, and then you're a morale booster. Yeah, you got to keep up your own morale and energy to keep all of that going. And then when Rupp retires, does it all fall apart?
Right.
Like, so how does the university make sure there's continuity? It
sounds like they're trying to formalize it and make it an institute, which is smart, right? Because then it has starts to have life outside of Rupp, but it's really kind of neat, and then the work he's doing with that research network,
with the other universities.
Anyways, I'm going to stop talking about my takeaways, and what are yours?
Well, no, those are mine as well. And then the other, just that little tactic of these, the power hour is his Much Music idea, where you're bringing in ideas and using a platform like Kahoot, which is a gaming, like a quiz show kind of platform.
Yeah, I've seen it.
I've seen it too. And then there's other kind of quiz or questioning platform. Just to take those hours of people's time. Oh, I wanted to ask him about what was the word he used it was like provoke. That is a very interesting choice of word that I wanted to ask him about.
When did he use it?
He used it near the end because he said he wanted to provoke people to participate.
Yeah.
And
oh, right.
So how do you write the invitation, or how do you name the event that provokes? But I just love the use of provoke. Like you're kind of stirring interest.
Yeah, you got it.
So it becomes marketing in a way.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I like that.
Great stuff.
That was a great one.
We should sign off. This has been the Extensionists. I'm Jay.
And I'm Toban.
Till next time. This has been a Burr Forest Group production.
We also want to thank the people working behind the scenes to make this podcast happen.
Abby Wall is our producer and editor.
Ashley Robinson is our coordinator.
And Michelle Holden is our designer.